Hello and welcome. My name is Chris, and today we're going to be talking about StarCoder. So first things first, what is StarCoder? Well, it's a brand new code completion large language model put together by the folks at Big Code, and I just have kind of a preset example here that I ran, which is, the classic, give me the old Fibonacci function in Python, asking it to do it a little bit better, which it didn't achieve on the first try, but when I asked it specifically, it did give me both a way that I could memoize my function with the class memoize, and then gave me the implementation, which works. So this is the official blog from Hugging Face where they talk about their process, what they did and some of the results. Basically, we have this Big Code, which is a collab between Hugging Face and ServiceNow. And they trained a 15 billion parameter model for 1 trillion tokens. They took this 15 billion parameter model, which is called StarCoder Base, and then they fine-tuned it for 35 billion Python tokens and got the StarCoder model. The StarCoder Base model is pretty good. It outperforms some of the earlier Codex models, which is pretty dope. And also it has a really big context length. So we can shove quite a lot of context into this model, and that's fantastic. Even though this model isn't actually fine-tuned on instructions, you can use in-context learning or, basically prompt engineering in order to get it to be excellent at a lot of different tasks that these kinds of models wouldn't necessarily always be good at. Now, including a lot of awesome stuff that they trained on, and we'll get to that in a second. They also, made sure to redact PII, and they, gave people a method or a way that they can actually start using this model commercially, which is fantastic. First things first, let's talk about the actual, evaluation that they did, which is, here. Basically what we're talking about is this model is pretty good. It's actually better than some of the kind of larger models. So, your llamas, your palms, and the prompted version is actually, quite good, especially given the fact that this is only, quote unquote, a 15 billion parameter model. It also beats the earliest Codex model on the DS1000, as well as other open access models. So, awesome. Because they built this model on, documentation, GitHub issues, it's actually able to be a pretty decent tech assistant. So it can answer programming related questions very well. And that's something that you just kind of get for free, right? So this is not something they tried to do, but it's nice that you get it. And so that's great. So StarCoder was trained on a subset of the stack. Now, the stack is this huge permissive license data set that has a bunch of code from GitHub, as well as, again, documentation, all kinds of other awesome stuff. Now, the stack itself is permissively licensed, and you can opt out of it. So if you have data in this data set that you don't want to have there, you're just allowed to opt out, which is fantastic. But the idea with the stack is that they are specifically focused on code that is permissively licensed so that it can be used in downstream tasks commercially, right? So that data that you're using, it doesn't lock you out of commercial use for the model. Now, the specific steps they took was removing PII. So removing PII just simplifies things a lot. You don't have to worry so much, with this idea that you have this personally identifiable information in your data set. You just kind of, take that away right at the top. And this is good because, again, we want models that are safe and we want models that are, able to do the most good. And so removing PII reduces the potential chances of someone kind of, getting their information leaked through the model. So kind of the big notes here are laid out in these bullet points. Number one, the model weights and checkpoints are all out with the Open Rail license. The Open Rail license, again, is a very permissive license. It basically has use case restrictions, but otherwise, commercial use is totally on the table. This is a very big move because, again, as the open source community keeps barreling forward, we're getting more and more models that can be actually used out in the wild to add value to your business or for your customers. And that's kind of, something that is exploding at the moment. Again, all of the code for data preprocessing and training has the Apache 2.0 license, which is a pretty dope license, to be honest with you. They do a bunch of great work here with StarCoder. And, again, we can kind of see it here. It does a very decent job. Is it like the best thing in the world? Of course not, right? It's not going to be. It's not running on 1,700 A100s. It's not taking the power of a small village to run this thing, but it's still really good. So, how easy is it to integrate into your workflow? Well, there is a VS Code extension called HF Code Autocomplete. All you need to do is, get this and then enable it. So you install it. Once you've done that, you just need to make sure you Control-Shift-P, type in Hugging Face, and set API token. Here you can enter your API token. Once you've done that, just like any other project, we'll go to a test file here. Okay, now that we're in our test file, you'll notice that I've deactivated Copilot here. And, let's just have it do the most simple thing in the world. We'll give it class add and see what it comes up with. And it comes up with this, simple kind of add class. It begins to write a subclass. If we go ahead and press enter here and let it run, and you can see it running in the bottom left-hand corner here. We'll also get this subtraction class. It's going to also give us a, if we go ahead and type this here again, you can see in the left-hand corner, it's doing this. It will build us a multiplication class. And then, let's say, we're going to say build some unit tests, just see what it does. We get, these unit tests. We can just let it keep going by type in the underscore. You'll notice it's not completing like a ton at once. Now that's because, again, this is totally free. So that's kind of one of the things that we trade as well. Like, many people are going to be using this. Now, if I go here and just import my unit test and then save, and then I go to, say, terminal, and in our terminal, we're just going to do the old Python test file, run it, ran 4 tests in 0 seconds. We got OKs on all of them. And I mean, this is like kind of the power of, these kinds of code complete models. Again, is this the fanciest or most powerful code completion model ever? Absolutely not, right? But it's not intended to be. It's intended to be free, fast, lightweight, open source, and it checks all of those boxes and then some. If you want to try this out on Hugging Chat, all you have to do is make sure that you have the StarCoder base model selected. Now, this is the StarCoder base model, which means it's not the version fine-tuned on Python. And that's really it. I mean, it's a fantastic model, fantastic work by the Hugging Face team, and, big code, absolutely phenomenal stuff. And, I encourage you guys to try this out, play around with it. It's, again, pretty powerful for what it is. It beats a lot of the kind of cheap commercial options, and it's totally open source. So, you can even get started for completely free in VS Code using the extension. And yeah, thanks so much for your time. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, please press the like button and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.